Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are getting ready to go over our tax credits, particularly the state historic tax credits in ESHPO. We're going to go over how you are going to be submitting within ESHPO. So we are going to be very specifically talking about just the process of going and putting projects and parts into ESHPO, and then we'll open up at the end for any questions that people might have. This is being recorded and will be made available on the website following this presentation. So if you have any questions, feel free to put those into the chat or hold for the end when we'll be able to answer those. Thank you for being able to attend today. We have been looking forward to being able to roll out some new features for ESHPO, and this is going to be one of our primary last features that we're going to be rolling out, and on into the future, we're just going to be focusing on improvements for what we have for right now. So if you are using our system and you notice anything that you have questions or concerns about, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone else at our office with suggestions or requests that you may have. But as you can see here, up to this point, we have Section 106, technical assistance, National Register nominations. You can fill out NABI forms, HABI forms, and historic inventory site file records and upload PDFs to support those new records. We now also have the state and federal historic tax credits. There will be one slight change in terms of the federal historic tax credits. And for those, we will actually be allowing you to upload your files the same as you will be able to do with state. So you will not need to provide a CD with your federal historic tax credit submissions, but you will still need to provide a paper copy, and we will not be able to begin processing your federal historic tax credit submissions until we receive that paper copy. As soon as we receive updated guidance from NPS, we will be having probably another webinar and some information going out to everyone to let you know how we might be able to facilitate e-submission only federal tax credit projects. So in the future, our big goal is being able to have more of our materials available for access by the public. And so, we look forward to continuing to roll out new features. For those of you that may not be familiar with eShippo, I know there are quite a few people that already have accounts that they are using for one reason or another. So for those of you that may not be familiar, when you need to be able to join, and we will be walking through this step by step, you are what we like to call community users, and the community is your access point to everything that you might need to use within eShippo. Your username will be the email that you provide for us for a contact. So if you already have a login that you've been using to submit, say, federal historic tax credits or Section 106 submissions, you do not need to request a new one for state historic tax credit submissions. It's one user, one email, and you can use that to submit a variety of different types of projects or materials. So access is based on an individual and not an agency. And by agency, that could be agency, organization, consulting business, however you want to look at that. And you are linked to an account. So if you have multiple people at a particular company that have requested access, we will be making sure that we know that you are all with the same place. What we are not able to do at this point is allow people that are either with the same company or working on the same project to see each other's projects. So you can see what you submit, and that is all you can see, and nobody else can see what you are submitting. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to put those out at the end. So we will have available online some documentation to assist with submitting projects. One is going to be a recording of this webinar. The others will be some quick reference guides that will walk you through how to complete a submission and upload files. Again, you're always welcome to reach out to those of us here on staff. We may send you to some helpful step-by-step references, but we'll always try to help figure out what's going on. The how-tos will cover how to begin a new case and fill out basic information. You will want to make sure that you provide contact for information for everyone involved. And that is what the case record or the primary record for your project is covering. And then there will be individual parts that you will be submitting. And so when you submit your tax part, that is where you will attach your files. Again, I'm going to be heavily hitting on this one. Your files do need to be in a zip folder with the internal files following the naming conventions and guidance that's been previously provided and will be available or is available on our website. If you do not submit those with a zip file, you will be having your project returned to you so the files can be uploaded appropriately. I will tell you that this is both for accuracy and record keeping, and also being able to speed our processing, which means speeding everything that follows that. So doing that helps everyone out in the long run. When you come in, this is going to be what the community looks like. Here's the URL up at the top where you will be going to both request logins and submit your projects. So we will be journeying off to that here in just a minute. But like I said, if you have any questions, we'll be handling those here at the end. You can put those into chat, but also you can feel free to reach out to either of the emails there or your regular contacts here with the State Historic Preservation Office. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what it looks like when we're using ESHPO. This is what the screen looks like right now. It looks a little bit different because we did want to highlight your ability to submit your state historic tax credit projects. As you can see, I am currently logged in, so I am going to go ahead and log out so it looks the way that you would if you were just joining us. So if you were to click on the URL, it would bring you to this window. If you have never used eShippo before and you do not have a user account, you will click Login Access Request. You will go through and fill out your contact information. You can see that what we require is the name of the agency or company that you are working with, your contact name, and your contact email. The rest of the information is great to have, but those are the 3 required pieces. You'll fill out those 3 pieces and hit confirm. Right now, there's not a window saying that we have received it, but rest assured, we have received all known login access requests. We've not had anybody email us and tell us that anything was not received or they hadn't received access. We do enter all of these manually, so please give us anywhere from 24 to 48 hours if there's a weekend involved before you may have your access email. You will get an email from our system. So if you have submitted this and you haven't heard anything back, please check your spam folders. I know that some people's email does push those off into the spam folder. And so you'll want to check that, and then you'll get a link that'll allow you to set your password. Once you have your password, you can come back to this main page and click login. It'll take you to this wonderful page. And you will hit login. Once you do that, it brings you back to the main landing page, but you can see up here at the top left, things have changed. And so now you can see cases, historic properties, HADB, and NABB. So if you are to click on historic properties, you will see a list of the historic property record forms that you have submitted. If you click on HADB, you will see a list of the HADB forms that you have submitted. And if you click on NABB, same, you will see a list of the NABB forms that you have submitted. Again, you cannot see at this time anything that somebody else has submitted. And for some of these, that is for security purposes. And for others, we are looking at increasing our accessibility to make this a little bit easier for everyone involved. When I go in and look at cases, I can see the projects that I have on hand. You can see that my account has both a federal tax credit project and a state tax credit project. You can see the status. This is a pretty generic landing page. So if you have a particular type of project that you are submitting, I highly recommend coming in. And in this case, we have our federal tax credit projects, National Register nomination, Section 106, and technical assistance. Soon there's going to be a state tax credit project, and you can go and click and pen, and that will always bring you back to this list. So if you are somebody, for example, who is primarily submitting federal tax credit projects, that might be the list that you want to pen. If you're somebody who is frequently submitting Section 106 projects, that might be what you want to pen. But that's just a little bit of functionality that does seem to help people be able to come in and find their project right away. So we are going to start off with submitting a new state tax credit project. Then I will walk you through both the existing one that I have and this new one that we're putting in. You'll see that there are several options. So you want to make sure that you go through and click state tax credit project and hit next. You are going to need the majority of the information that you might be filling out on a tax credit form. So we're going to do this with our test building. So something pretty generic for this so I can find it easily later to take care of. And you want to put the county that we are in. We have all counties here. So click the appropriate county. Anything with a red asterisk does mean that it's a required field. So you do need to make sure that you complete that to be able to click save down at the bottom. And for those things that we think you might need some explanation, we do have little information buttons in the top right of each field. So project, contact, organization would be an example. Go through and make sure that I'm filling out all of the fields here. All right, applicant name. So we do have our contact information, our applicant information. Sometimes those are the same. Often they are different. So please make sure that you provide both. And then these are things that you'll want to make sure that as you're filling out your parts, you update these as appropriate by filling out the part information. And then we do ask, are you currently seeking a federal tax credit project for the same property? And so in this case, I'm going to click yes. So that just lets us know that we should be keeping an eye out for that as well. The historic status, in this case, my fictitious building is listed individually on the National Register. Project type, commercial or non-commercial. All of these questions should be very similar to the information that you have been filling out in Cactus and for the federal forms. So let's see, building value. And then the anticipated QRE, this is going to be less than 750,000. Now down here, you'll see status. And I know sometimes people want to change that, but you will not be able to change the status and still be able to save your form. So you need to leave it as draft. And then the moment that you click submit for approval on the next page, it will update that for you. And that kicks off a series of processes on our end in the background. So clicking save, I now can see my case record with all of the information that I've entered. I can come back and check as it goes to see when it has been updated with the Iowa tax credit project number and when it has been processed and who my reviewer might be. Here is my tax part. So to get started, I'm going to click submit for approval so that we have this case in our system. You'll see the opportunity for comments comes up here where it says submit for approval. Please do not fill this out. This is not something that we keep for records. So do not put important information in the comment section here. All right, so here is my tax part, and this has been pre-autofilled with the information that I completed in the case. But let's say my contact information has changed. I do have the opportunity to come in here and make changes to that. Oops. I do have the opportunity to come in here and make changes to that. So this is your chance to update project information if it has changed between any of your part submissions. Here we have the signature. So I am submitting on behalf of an applicant. And you will need to provide an authorization letter that has to be included in the files in your zip folder for submission. We have some information here on eligible taxpayer and legal notifications. By checking this box and entering my name below, I attest that the information I have provided. Again, information buttons here have some explanations and important information. So make sure to hover over those and take a look. And I will provide the signature date and print my name. All right. You can see here, status says draft. Don't change that. And click. Oh, I forgot to include my project state. Typically, that is always going to be Iowa, but today the A's were very close. And here I can upload files. So I can click upload files and see a list of potential files come up, or I can drag and drop files that I may have on my desktop or anything like that. I'm going to click submit for approval. Again, I'm not putting anything into the comments because that is a system required opportunity to enter information, but not one that you should take. I'm going to hit submit. Now, submit for approval is gone, which lets me know that it's been submitted. The files is going to disappear, so I cannot upload any additional files once you've clicked submit for approval. And if I need to for my records, I can click printable view, and it will bring up a easily printed or saved record of what I have submitted at the time. If, say, for example, I received a request for more information, every time you receive a request for more information or have to upload new information, you will need to fill out a new part form. And so one thing that we did to try and make that a little bit easier is, let's say I got a more information request on my tax credit part 1. I could click clone. I do not have to fill everything out again. It has the same information. I can hit save. And I am able to go in and upload my new files for my more information request. Communication back and forth regarding your tax parts. There will both be information down at the bottom in the ESHPO documentation section, letting you know the ESHPO determination and the date, and any comments that might be applicable for the applicant. But you will also receive an email with that information. So you will continue to receive email updates while also being able to come in and check the current status or the determination within the system. Let's say I have submitted my part 1 and now I need to make an amendment. I would just come here to amendment. This is going to be my first amendment for this project. So amendment 1, it's for a state part 1, and I hit save. And then I can go into my amendment and upload files. This is different than what we are currently doing, because we've currently been having people submit these through email. So this is a much easier to track both on your end and on ours, on keeping track of where amendments are at, how long the review period has been, and more information like that. So we really think that this is going to be advantageous. So as soon as I complete my amendment and make sure that all my documentation has been uploaded, I will click submit for approval, and that will trigger the processes on our end, on the back end, that let us make sure that you're receiving a response to your project. So you can see here, I have a new state tax credit project and a closed one. You should be able to see what open and active projects that you have and what completed projects that you have. If I come in here, I'm ready to submit my part 2. Typically, once your part 1 has been completed, you will be able to have the part 2 automatically generated, and it will show up as soon as you've received approval for your part 1. Right now, I don't have somebody on the back end of this making approvals for my part 1, so we're going to go ahead and complete a tax credit part 2, just so you can see what this would look like. When it is auto-generated, because you've had approval, all of this information will be pre-filled out, just like it was when I cloned the project. So we are trying to reduce repeating information while offering you the opportunity, to be able to go in and update information as needed. So I will complete my part 2. Same type of information as before. And for those of you that have used our system for the federal historic tax credits, this should be a very similar system. I can see that there are some questions that are popping up. I promise I will look over those in just one moment and start responding to them. We are going to ask for the date of your pre-application meeting, because we do like to have those prior to the part 2. So in this case, I'll say I had mine last Tuesday and have gotten right on submitting my part 2. Ooh. All right, I think I have gotten everything. I'm going to be starting my project tomorrow and completing it the following week. I'm even going to throw in an addition, and I will fill out all my signature pieces. All right, because I'm making this new, I will set it to draft because again, it's always draft until we click it, submit for approval. So I can go in and check on my state tax credit part 2. I can upload my files right here. Double check all my information is correct. I can see when I have paid my application fee, we will be entering that information. So you'll be able to see when that is. And as we are able to, we will be opening more things up for either you to complete or for them to be auto completed by our system. So, and I will click submit for approval. I'm not putting anything into the comments because I don't want to have those slip by unnoticed. So again, not putting anything into the comments for submit for approval and hitting submit. And my tax part is in and ready for review.